out, I've officially been divorced for 4 years. That's insane. It also means I've been dating unsuccessfully for 4 years. My ex is remarried already. More power to him. For the love of God, someone get me off these streets.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about this pretty fascinating TikTok that I stumbled across of this liberal woman whose political viewpoints, I guess, is her personality, right? That is who she is. That's how she defines herself, because apparently she has been struggling to make friends since moving to a conservative state. And the conservative state is Florida. Now, just like most conservative states, the cities in those states tend to be more liberal, okay? Now, who knows? Maybe Florida has more conservative-leaning liberal cities, but nonetheless, Florida definitely has some liberal cities, okay? Like, I don't know, Miami, right? But I think that this woman is in St. Petersburg, okay? I think she's in the Tampa Bay area, which I believe generally is, more left-leaning, but definitely more conservative than I think most cities, okay? I think, cities in Florida tend to lean more conservative, at least nowadays. So, again, she probably considers this to be a conservative area, right? This is what she considers, okay? And as a liberal woman, okay, apparently she's having issues making friends because political viewpoints, right? Political viewpoints matter to her when it comes to making friends instead of, I don't know, just being a normal person, right? To the point where, again, she freaked out after getting invited to a bar by what I would define as normal people, okay? But she says they are more conservative leaning. And then having USA chants break out as they're watching a UFC fight. And Trump is walking out to the arena, right? The middle of the arena. We all know how Trump shows up at these UFC fights. And, people were cheering that on. And apparently this caused her to have an out-of-body experience, again, and to freak out and immediately leave because I guess she felt uncomfortable being around normal people doing normal things. Take a look.
Moved to Florida. Things have been going great. Love the weather. St. Petersburg is beautiful. I'm obsessed. However, it has been hard to make friends, which is natural as an adult. It's really difficult. I work from home. I live alone. I live in a house even. There's just like no way to meet people. So I downloaded the Meetup app and I went to a Meetup event. Met a lot of cool people. Exchanged numbers. Got this one from a girl. Super cute. Fun. And she invited me, and this is, let me just make this clear. She invited me to a UFC fight, to watch a UFC fight at a sports bar. You don't, you don't need to know much about me to know that's not really my scene. No, it's not. But are we desperate? Yes. I start thinking, you know what? Hemingway liked to fight. Maybe some of these people are also really into classic literature. That was really sweet of me. That was really sweet of me to think. But basically it looked like a frat party. Duh. Which is, again, fine. I'm there to chat with the girlies. Conversations were leaning conservative about vaccines, and then Donald Trump shows up on the TV, like he goes to the UFC fight, and the entire sports bar erupts into chanting USA. USA, USA. First of all, am now floating above my body, watching from above, going, how did this happen? Trying to stay calm, trying to act normal. The sweet girl next to me goes, "What can I say? I love the guy." I called an Uber almost immediately. I almost started crying in the bar. Got right in an Uber and I scurried away. So basically, things are going well.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay. Imagine being so obsessed with your politics that you can't even, enjoy what I would define as like a normal, regular night out, right? Of just going to the bar and watching a UFC match, right? Watching a sporting event. You're so obsessed with your politics that you can't make friends. I mean, to me, they sounded like good people, right? They sounded like people that I would want to hang out with on a Friday or a Saturday night, right? That I would want to sit down and, chug some beers and watch some sporting events with, right? I mean, again, this is the thing that really gets me about liberals, right? They claim to be so peace-loving and so tolerant, except they always show you time and time and time again that they're not very peace-loving and tolerant, right? Especially tolerant, right? They're not tolerant at all, right? Because this is actually intolerance, right? Like, she could not tolerate people that I would define as normal, but apparently in today's, political lexicon, right? Normal is conservative, right? Or conservative is normal, okay? She could not stand to be around those people, right? Even though, to me, they probably seem like they were very friendly, right? Good people to hang around, good people to be around. But that stopped her from making friends because she is not a normal person, right? I don't think that normal people let their political viewpoints get in the way of their friendships. Maybe that's something that's on the left, right? Maybe that's something that the left is into because apparently, according to this study, Republicans tend to have more friends across the political spectrum than Democrats, okay? So maybe it's normal for liberals to not be friends with conservatives. I mean, this study from the American Enterprise Institute found that 15% of adults have ended a friendship over politics, and of those who did, 22% volunteered that they had ended one over a mismatch in support for former President Donald Trump. Just over half of Republicans, 53%, said they have at least some friends who are Democrats. AEI found while about a third of Democrats, 32%, said they have at least some Republican friends. So yeah, if you are a liberal, it seems to be that you are less likely to have, conservative or Republican friends, right? Which could contribute to why, in general, liberals, leftists, woke people, Democrats are less happy than conservatives are.
Let's talk happiness and wokeness. I was fascinated to see this piece in the New York Post today revealing one truth about happiness. It seems that you're less likely to experience it if you're woke. A Finnish study has found a high prevalence of anxiety and depression among people who hold woke beliefs. They also found that those who identified as left-wing were more likely to report lower mental well-being than those who were right-wing or apolitical. Is that what you found in your research as well, Dr. Sad?
Right. Well, great to be with you again, Rita. Yeah, so in my latest book, the happiness book, I actually talk about various correlates to happiness, one of which is a ubiquitous finding that's been found in the literature, namely that your political orientation is correlated with happiness. Specifically, conservatives on average are happier than liberals or progressive, or as the Finnish study says, woke people. Now, I offer an explanation for that in the book, and I basically argue that, when conservatives wake up in the morning, by the very definition of the word conservative, they think that there is a set of values that are worth conserving in the current society. So they wake up with a sense of existential happiness. It doesn't mean that the society is perfect, but they're in a good place existentially. On the other hand, the wokester wakes up with existential doom, right? We live in a transphobic society. We live on stolen land. We live in a misogynistic society. We're committing genocide on indigenous people. And therefore, if only we can re-engineer society, around the corner, we'll be able to find unicornia. So the Finnish study doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, so in other words, normal people, right, tend to wake up happy, and not normal people tend to wake up not so happy. And normal people tend to have friends from across the political spectrum. Not normal people tend to not have as many friends across the political spectrum. Okay, I think that's what's happening in the case of this woman, in the sense that I don't think that you should ever let your politics determine your friendship, right? I mean, for me personally, when it comes to choosing my friends, it's more about our general shared values, which I guess does contribute to your politics, but I don't think it overlaps as much as people think, right? I think most people, just like to hang around with people that they get along with, to have, good conversations with, people that, you can learn something from, that you share common interests with. And in some of these spaces, people may tend to be more liberal or conservative, but to me personally, it doesn't really matter that much, okay? I do a variety of things, okay? And in different spaces, I can tell, okay, right, when I go to this place to do this hobby, oh, okay, these people are going to tend to be more liberal or progressive. Or if I go to this space and do this hobby, okay, people are going to tend to be more moderate or even more conservative. But I never think about that, right? I never think about, oh, what is this person's viewpoints? Do they support Biden or do they support Trump? Now, if the conversation comes up, you have the conversation, but regardless of who that person support, I'm not going to let it get in the way of whether or not I choose to be friends with that person or whether or not I can have a good time with that person. I mean, that's just me personally, right? I mean, I definitely think politics is serious, but I don't think that it's so serious that it should ruin your relationship with your friends and family, right? That's kind of how I feel about it, right? It's not something that I ever think about. I think it's possible to go and hang out with people without thinking about their politics or who they voted for, okay? Because everybody has the right to support whoever they want to support, regardless of how much I disagree with it. I don't think it should be a make or break. And the main reason why is because I think that you're going to have a miserable life when you do that, right? Like, imagine being a conservative in a city like New York or LA or Portland or Seattle. If your political viewpoints were the primary determinant of whether or not you can be friends with somebody or whether or not you can have fun in a normal setting, right? Like a bar, watch a UFC match, you're going to lose your mind, right? You're going to lose your mind. Okay. So you have to be open-minded, okay, to having friends that have, different political viewpoints in order to just generally not, lose your mind, right? I mean, that's kind of how it is, okay? And I think conservatives are probably a lot better at that than liberals are, so it seems. But don't get me wrong, I obviously think that there are limits to this, right? I mean, like, for example, if you have friends, and they like to do, I don't know, drag queen story time, at schools and stuff like that, I might be like, I'm not sure if we can be friends, right? I'm not sure if I'm that tolerant of your viewpoints, if that's what you like to do in your spare time. I might have to say, no, I'm good on this, right? I'm good. But I don't count that as a normal thing, right? That's not something that I think normal people do, right? They don't spend time doing stuff like that. I'm just saying. But if you're living your life like this woman, trying to make friends based off political viewpoints, then I think you're going to have a problem, okay? Because that, to me, in my opinion, signals intolerance, right? I think that she's probably going to have issues making friends for the rest of her life because, when it comes to the left, if you don't agree with them 99%, then you might as well be on the right, okay? Again, if you are a normal person, you like UFC, okay? You're conservative, okay? And that, again, I think is the problem, right? I mean, getting freaked out to the point where you decide to immediately leave and that you're having an out-of-body experience because people are chanting USA. Yeah, I think you got an intolerance problem, all right? I think that you have a deep, deep, deep issue that's going to stop you from making friends, regardless of whether or not they're liberal or conservative. I think you just have a you problem, right? I think that I think you need to go lay on somebody's couch, which, again, the ironic part is I think this person's like a therapist or something. So, again, I think she's the one that actually really needs to get some therapy. But, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.